All right, today we're going to dive into a story that honestly just completely shook the chess world to its core. We're talking about a rivalry, some really serious accusations, and, well, a heartbreaking tragedy involving two incredible players, Vladimir Kramnik and Daniel Naroditsky. You know, in chess, you expect this world of deep strategy, skill, and mutual respect. But this was something else. What started out as just a rivalry between two top-tier players, it spiraled into this public campaign of accusations that had just devastating consequences. It really made people question the very idea of sportsmanship in the game. So how did things get so bad? To really get it, you've got to understand the two people at the center of it all. Because they weren't just two players, they were like representatives of two completely different eras of chess. And that clash, that's really at the heart of this whole thing. So on one hand, you've got Vladimir Kramnik. I mean, the guy's a legend, right? A former world champion. His name is basically synonymous with that old school, deep, strategic classical chess. And then you have Danya Naroditsky. He was the face of the new generation, a young American grandmaster who was just killing it online. Super innovative, a huge streamer, a totally different kind of star. And so when they played online, which was often, it became this real battleground. You had Danya, with his total mastery of this new, faster online style of chess, constantly pushing and challenging the classical champ. And right there, that's where the fuse was lit for a rivalry that was about to go way, way off the rails. Okay, so this is where the rivalry really takes a dark turn. Kramnik starts to voice these suspicions about Danya's play. But he didn't go through any of the official channels, the right way to do it. No, he took it public. And that decision was incredibly damaging. And man, it escalated fast. It started with just some vague doubts Kramnik threw out there after some tough losses. But then those doubts turned into social media posts, questioning Danya's incredibly high accuracy. The real tipping point, though, was this video he released called Exposing Private Danya. That's when it went from just hinting at things to outright accusation. After that, the attacks just got worse and worse, and it created this firestorm that Danya was just stuck in the middle of. Now, you have to understand, these claims didn't just happen in a vacuum. The whole chess world was watching, and it sent this massive shockwave through the community, splitting it right down the middle and pretty much forcing everyone to pick a side. The community just fractured. You had a group of people who sided with Kramnik, sharing his concerns about fair play, especially in online chess. Then you had a much bigger group that came out swinging for Danya, defending him and pointing to his spotless reputation. And then there was this third group, kind of in the middle, just saying, hey, enough of this trial by social media. Show us some actual evidence, not just speculation. And this is where we have to pause and remember the human cost. This wasn't just some abstract debate about chess. It was a relentless public pylon directed at one person. And as that pressure just became unbearable, his friends, other players, they started to see it. They noticed Danya's well-being was really, really suffering. It all kind of came to a head in what would be his final live stream. He got on camera and addressed all the accusations directly. And anyone who watched it, you could just see it. He looked completely exhausted, totally distressed by the whole thing. It was just this incredibly somber, heartbreaking moment that really showed everyone the immense toll this was taking on him. And then, the worst possible news, the news everyone was dreading. Shortly after that stream, Daniel Naroditsky was found dead. The entire chess world was just shattered. This tragedy forced everyone to confront some really awful questions about what happens when online accusations have devastating real-world consequences.
Danya's death was a massive wake-up call. There was no more standing by. The community, the big chess organizations, they knew they had to do something. They were forced to act.
And the response came fast. FIDE, the main international chess body, kicked off an investigation into Kramnik's whole public campaign. Chess.com straight up banned him for violating their rules with baseless accusations. But maybe the most important thing, the players themselves started speaking up, demanding real change. They wanted better, more compassionate ways to deal with cheating suspicions down the road.
So a tragedy like this, it forces us all to look past the 64 squares, right? To look beyond just the moves and really confront some tough issues that modern chess is grappling with. And it all boils down to this one critical question. Where is the line? Seriously, Where do you draw the line between protecting the integrity of the game and, well, harmful public defamation? How can a community keep things fair without resorting to public witch hunts that can literally destroy someone's life?
When experts looked at this whole situation, they pointed to a really troubling motivation. The consensus was that Kramnik's campaign probably wasn't about proof. It seemed to be more about his own frustration, maybe with his declining performance online. And because the accusations had no real substance, that, combined with the awful consequences, completely undermined his own credibility in the end.
Look, when you're a former world champion, you have this huge platform, right? Your words carry so much weight. And this whole nightmare is just such a sobering, tragic reminder that those words have real, tangible, human consequences.
I think this quote really just says it all. At the end of the day, you've got to remember the humanity behind the game. Forget the ratings, forget the strategies for a second. The drive for fair play, it's crucial, of course, but it can never, ever overshadow compassion.
So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a really fundamental question. And honestly, it goes way beyond just the world of chess. It applies to pretty much any competitive online community. How do we balance that need for fair competition with empathy, with actually supporting the people in our community? There's no easy answer here. But this tragedy, it forces every single one of us to confront that challenge head on.